Bye. One race into the BRB chase, the entire order of the standings has been mixed up. A new driver stands atop the series with new challengers waiting close by, and everyone is up against their greatest challenge yet, the Charlotte Roval. Welcome to Pit Stop TV in the virtual Concord, North Carolina. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV with Zach Murtis alongside, and it's a pleasure to join you for continuing coverage of the BRB Buttkicker Cup Series. Boy, this is going to be a fun one. Tonight's coverage from Charlotte is brought to you by the Buttkicker, by Ascendance Trucking, by Ideal Lease, by Sundance Pizza, and by Whiplash Sim Cams. Zach, I am so glad to be here. Charlotte Motor Speedway is one of my favorite racing facilities on the face of the earth. I know it's up there for you as well. We each have a lot of personal memories here, and boy, it is good to be here on the iRacing.com sim at Charlotte Motor Speedway, virtually anyways, and ready to go racing for 60 laps of Cup Series style action on the Charlotte Motor Speedway Roval, looking as good as ever. We've got a lot of breast cancer awareness paint schemes out there, and Zach, let's talk about this track. Checking in 17 corners, you've got the hammerhead, you've got the redneck roller coaster, you've got the pit lane, all kinds of great features here. The bus stop chicane on the back stretch, the front stretch chicane on the front stretch. There is a lot to try and digest.
There's so much to digest at the Charlotte Roval, not to mention all the big updates that are coming to the Charlotte Roval very, very soon. That it's going to shake up the racing quite a bit moving forward. But today, we don't have those updates. We have the good old-fashioned Charlotte Roval that was introduced to us in the 2018 NASCAR Cup Series. It's seen a little adjustments over the course of time, but everything so forth is quite interesting, to say the least, when it comes to this facility. And I think these drivers are going to really show us today who the road course ringers are. We're looking at the timetables right now and seeing just who's at the top of the board and who might have the best chance today. A lot of playoff guys, or chase guys, excuse me. Chasers are up at the top of the board. This is going to be a fun one. There's a lot of great aspects to this road course, and I think these drivers are going to be tested a lot today.
Before we get down for qualifying, let's take a look at our point standings coming into this evening. I talk about a new driver being on top. Johnny Wood Jr. after Las Vegas last week has moved up to position number 1. Mason Houseman sits in second. Dustin Stallings, fresh off the race win, is now third. Stephen Borbell fourth. Adam Buzzio fifth. And you see the rest of your top 10. Your chase drivers there in the top 10 above that cut line. Brendan Maddox, after missing the start of last week's race, has fallen all the way down to 52 back in the 10th position. Highlights certainly have to include Johnny Wood Jr., Dustin Stallings, Stephen Borbell. They each gained a ton of points last week. They were the best 3 drivers at Las Vegas, but now we're on a road course. We're on the Charlotte Roval of all places, and everything is going to change. I think Mason Houseman is a guaranteed lock to be battling for a win. Maybe not win the race, but at least to battle for it. From there on, I'm not really sure who to expect to be where, but Mason Houseman has this one on lock. He was just about fastest in practice. Gavin Rogers ended up usurping him on top of the board, but for the most part, Zach, it's going to be all Mason Houseman, I feel like.
I don't know. I've said it from the get-go, and I'm going to say it again. Johnny Wood Jr. is a bit of a sleeper pick. I think he's got a good shot. Even if, I'm looking at the times right now, he's not exactly top of the board or anything like that as qualifying is underway at the moment. He was 4th quickest overall. He's not too far off the pace. I would expect Johnny Wood Jr. to be up at the top fighting for a championship as well still. He's got a good shot moving forward.
And of course, tonight is just one race of the 5-race chase. Let's take a look at the full season schedule and the 5 chase races of Las Vegas, Charlotte, Talladega, Martinsville, and then the Charlotte Oval on October the 8th. So after this week, we go plate racing, speedway racing, pack racing, whatever you want to call it, at Talladega Superspeedway. Martinsville Speedway, the short track for race 17, then the Charlotte Oval caps things off. That's going to happen quickly. We're very quickly going to end this season on some kind of note. For these drivers, it's their task to make it a high note for themselves and not a sour one where it falls flat. So Keep these races in mind moving forward as we move into our full broadcast kind of format here. Qualifying on track, and we can talk about who is on the racetrack first. Mason Hausman was one of the first drivers to hit the racetrack. Richard Wolsifer is now hitting the track in the 56 car, and everybody is getting warmed up and ready to go racing.
That they are. You see Richard Wolsifer on track as Carl Pooler goes quickest with a 22.92. That's a pretty good time for that 71 car. He's looking to pick up his performance throughout the course of the chase. As now we've got a new driver to the top. It's Jared Hughes with a 20.9, with William Maddox coming in third on the board at the moment. So now a lot of drivers starting to come into play here. We're starting to see a lot of qualifying times pop up on the board. This is where you'll start seeing things fall into play as we see Adam Buzzio, one of the drivers who's probably got one of the most momentum going, or one of the biggest amounts of momentum going into this chase. With his win at Chicagoland, Andrew, we spoke very highly of that, and he goes a 21.0. That is good for second out of the 4 cars that have qualified so far.
Brendan Maddox across the stripe goes third quick so far, right in the middle of the 5 cars that have turned lap times. Mason Hausman comes around the final corner and will complete lap 1. It's a 1.20, a 1 minute 20.535. Oh my gosh.
Lord, he's going to be tough to beat.
That's huge. That's nearly 4 tenths over Jared Hughes. And he looks comfortable in this car. He is slinging it through even the first few corners, through the hammerhead, and out of turn number 4, down to the redneck roller coaster. He looks comfortable.
Comfortability on a road course is a big thing. You're doing a lot of different types of, shifting points. You're doing a lot of different turn-in points. Everybody turns into the corners differently as Jared Hughes tops the board. A 120.52. That is 0.03 of a second faster than Mason Hausman. Wonder if he's going to be able to usurp that as he comes through Speedway 1 and 2.
Au contraire, that's 7 1/1000ths faster.
Oh.
So 7 1/1000ths of a second between those two.
Ooh. Looks like Hausman caught a lot of curb right there on entry into the backstretch chicane. Through Speedway 3 and 4, Andrew. He's going to hit that last front stretch chicane. He's going to bring it to the line. It's going to be close. Hard braking into the corner. Hits the sausage curve. That's going to be a one. Wow.
Oh, wow.
1 minute,
this guy's insane.
20.269. That is going to be your quick time on the night as we take a look at the 3 of Camper. Big snap into the corner.
He goes for a slide. There's Stephen Borbell, who has gone 9th quick so far. Isaiah Sutherland goes 5th quick now, right behind Johnny Wood Jr. Evan Patinko comes across the stripe in the 81 car and goes 12th on lap number 2. That's the best he's got at a 124.623.
Big spread throughout these fields of drivers tonight, Andrew. There's a lot of drivers who look like they could have some decent speed. Just need to get some of these lines down. As Stallings comes through onto Speedway 1 and 2. A lot of drivers like to swing out all the way to the wall and then cut the car down to carry some momentum through the banking of those corners. We go into the backstretch chicane. A lot of curb right there for Stallings.
Dustin Stallings back on power here around the oval. And will exit NASCAR turn number 4 into the front stretch chicane here with an opportunity to set his first lap time. Now, he's got enough time here. This is an extended qualifying session, a little bit longer than normal. So enough time to run 2 laps, even though he waited a little bit to get his qualifying run started. It's a 122.598 lap 1. That's good for 9th. And again, this guy is fresh off of a race win at Las Vegas last week. Absolutely one of the best cars there, and fired through at the end with a bit of long run speed to get the race win. And then welcomed his second baby girl into the world just hours later, the very next day. So a very busy week for him last week, and I'm sure he's team no sleep this week. Trying to cope now with a new life in the family, and that's always a lot, especially when it's the second one.
He's got to be riding cloud 9. A race win and a new baby girl into the world. That's just got to be an electric feeling for that man. As he comes through Speedway 1 and 2 to the back straightaway. He might look like he'll pick up some time here, Andrew. I think he's looking solid through those, what was it you called it? The redneck roller coaster and the hammerhead.
That's right. Turns 3 and 4, the hammerhead, as was referred to on IMSA radio when IMSA came here back in 2021 or 2020. Was it? One of the two. I think it was 2020.
It was 2020 because I remember the monsoon weather we had in the Xfinity race as well.
Yep, I was there.
Oh boy.
That was a good day. That was a wet day, but a good day. And whoa, that was nearly a big lap there from Stallings. For a second, I thought it was tracking to a low 21, but it ends up being a high 21, a 121.903. And that is good for 6th position so far, as Dakota Bly runs a couple of extra laps here in this qualifying session. There's a handful of drivers not qualifying. Richard Wolsifer is one of them. Eric Jensen is another. Jamie Plord, Gavin Rogers, Andrew Tenold, and Sean Lester, all opting not to turn qualifying laps in this session. So the lone car on the racetrack right now is Dakota Bly in this number 58. That is going to be hard to miss today. That is a bright pink. There's a lot of drivers sporting pink. This race traditionally held in October for the NASCAR Cup Series. So right in the middle of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And while it is September, these drivers are still honoring those who have survived and those who have unfortunately lost their battle with breast cancer, and throwing pink on their cars this evening. There's pink walls on the racetrack down a pit lane. It's the pinkest of the walls, I will say. So a pretty cool thing that the league is doing. And of course, the race logo, if we bring that back up for a second here, Zach, the race logo, also sporting a bit of pink. It is the Breast Cancer Awareness 125, Race for a Cure 125, presented by Castle Smart Alarm. And boy, again, love what these guys are doing with this opportunity to do such a thing. These guys could do anything they want with their sim races, right, Zach? But to be able to decide to dedicate it to such a fantastic movement is pretty big of them.
That it is, and I've always enjoyed the complexity of these types of leagues where everyone can just kind of do their own thing, embrace the NASCAR style, but embrace it in your own way. It's a great way to express yourself. It's a great way to express your love for racing, and not just racing, Andrew, supporting those who've been affected by such a terrible disease. And I've had the pleasure of working with sponsors that have helped out with that disease as well, and I'm so always excited to see when leagues, drivers, teams, anybody supports such a great cause. So follow along though with Pit Stop TV socials and everything that's going to go on with this race. I think we're in for one heck of a show as these drivers are starting to grid up.
Mason Houseman going to lead us to the green. Boy, this is going to be a fun one. Mason Houseman on pole. Jared Hughes will start from the 2nd spot. Adam Buzzio will start from 3rd place. Had a bit of a rough day at Las Vegas a week ago. Would like to rebound with a solid run here at the Roval. He's going to give it his best shot from the 3rd spot. Johnny Wood Jr. rolls off from 4th. Starting 5th, it'll be Isaiah Sutherland out of Tennessee. Dustin Stallings will start from 6th. Starting 7th and 8th, it's Brendan Maddox and Carl Pooler. And to complete your top 10, how about Dakota Camper in the 3 and Stephen Borbell in the 2?
Rolling through the rest of the field, Jason Bottoms and William Maddox, they're going to be rolling off 11th and 12th here on the starting order. That's row number 6 and into 7. And on the inside line, it's down low Patinko and Dakota Bly, starting in the 13th and the 14th position. Zachary King and Gavin Rogers will be starting in the 15th and the 16th position. Gavin Rogers, the first of the drivers that did not elect to take qualifying times. Richard Wolsifer and Andrew Tenold in the 17th and the 18th position. Row number 9 on the starting grid tonight. And then into row number 10, Jamie Plord and Sean Lester to round out your 20 cars. And 21st on the starting order, Eric Jensen, the lone car all by himself in row number 11.
And these drivers will take the very unique gridding positions here in the front stretch chicane. I want to revisit the track map. There's a lot to talk about with this track map, and a lap around here takes you for some big time twists and turns. And it looks like we're going to have a handful of drivers actually opting to start from the pit lane. Brendan Maddox and Dakota Camper both going to start from the pits, and it looks like Gavin Rogers may not be joining us. But Looking at the Charlotte Motor Speedway Roval, Zach, is there a particular corner that you can nail down as the toughest one to get around?
From the pit lane through turn 2 into turn 3. That's going to be my particular preference, just because when US Legend Cars and NX decide to come here for the Winter Heat Series that is particularly run in January and February at the start of the year, you know, these Legend Cars get to tackle the road course. And one thing that the Legend Car drivers in the community have dubbed that particular section from the pit lane exit, from the start of where you turn through turn 2 into turn 3, they call that the death tunnel, because you are flying through there at full speed, and with how light those cars are, with how fast those cars are, it is always a challenge. You snap loose coming through there, and you still got the pedal all the way down. You've got the throttle down to the floor. It's so it is scary. There's a reason they call that thing the death tunnel, and I have always struggled with that corner, whether it be on the sim or in an actual car. So usually I find that one the trickiest to get down.
I think it's difficult to nail down the toughest corner here. I think the front stretch chicane is probably the toughest. But the most fun for me has always been the redneck roller coaster. I've never really jived with the hammerhead. Turns 3 and 4 are always tricky. But the redneck roller coaster from 5, the very bottom of the hill, up over the hill at turn 6, back down through turn 7, and back up to turn number 8. That is such a fun sequence of corners. It just flows together so well, and it's unfortunate, in my opinion, that they're making that change to the Roval to cut through turn 6 and go straight to what you see on the outer portion of that area. So basically, the track is going to do this and follow that line around. That yellow line will be where the new track goes. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I could see what NASCAR and Charlotte Motor Speedway are going for. It's just not my most favorite thing. Anyways, before we go racing, it's good to take a look at the Whiplash Cam's race details. Want to make sure we do that, and you can see 60 laps for the race distance, 15 lap stages for stage 1 and stage 2, then a 30 lap stage 3, 5 change sets of tires, plenty of tires in the pit lane, fixed setups, 1 fast repair. Everything is as you would expect. 60 laps the race distance coming at you quickly. Mason Houseman, the race pole sitter, gonna lead us down into the front stretch chicane, around the bend, and to the green flag this evening. There's the whole field of 20. Into the chicane and out of the chicane, and green flag as everybody loses it. Whoa! Stallings around! Maddox around with him.
4 cars hitting the wall back there into turn 1. We've lost a couple of cars there as we've had a 5-car
Cautions
breakaway
out.
and a full course yellow.
Wow. The track is blocked over here in turn 2. Now everybody getting moving. Brendan Maddox, William Maddox, Dustin Stallings. That's a full team wiped out in one corner.
Sean Lester gets a little bit of a lick of that on that right front fender. Now,
you know, Zach, we were told that we wouldn't get a caution unless it was a track blocker.
Yep.
I think I just stole your note.
Yes, you did.
Well, I can't believe it. Lap 1, turn 1. We've got ourselves a full-on track blocker here. Let's just take a look.
Dustin Stallings popped out right there after snapping loose. So he goes into the corner. He snaps around. Maddox gets into him. You see Lester go straight on into the outside retaining wall. Not too similar to Chase Elliott in 2019, I believe. We got multiple cars that came to a stop there. Dakota Bly, he stopped dead in his tracks to make sure he didn't hit anything. Both the Maddox brothers backing up, doing a little 3-point turn action. Nice to know driver's ed still has a place in the iRacing sim.
We'll watch Dustin Stallings here. This is going to be a unique view. He had trouble getting going off the start. Stallings into turn 1. Just carried too much speed, came around. Maddox gets into him. Carla Pooler there along with, and William Maddox kind of comes in for the trifecta. That team Oh my gosh, Maverick Motorsports blocking the entire track. That is... We saw a team implosion from Limitless Esports at Las Vegas, and now we're seeing a team implosion on lap 1 here from Maverick Motorsports. I hate to call it that, but that's what it was. 3 cars from the same team all having catastrophic mistakes in the first turn and bringing out a caution that we didn't expect to see.
And then Sean Lester all by himself going into the outside retaining wall in that turn 1 section. You see here stalling, slowing it down, pops the curb ever so slightly, and that snaps the car around. There goes Brendan Maddox. Then you see William Maddox snapping his car around. Andrew Tenold parts the Red Sea, gets through it. Patinko gets a lick. Wolsifer gets a couple of licks while he's trying to get through it. Zachary King came to a stop. He goes around the right-hand side, and then everyone starts getting back rolling. You see the smoke out of the right-hand side from Sean Lester. It's on board with Jamie Plord. There's Lester out of the front windshield. He locks up the left front and then just goes straight on. And then roadblock.
You know, turn 1 here was originally dubbed the Tums Too Tough to Turn.
I thought it was the Tom's Heartburn turn.
That's right. It was Tom's Heartburn turn, and then it was the DeDwalt Too Tough to Turn. That's what it was. And either name is fitting right now, considering we couldn't get through turn 1. Boy, that is so unfortunate. And hey, you know what? That's these guys shaking out the wiggles, we'll say. My fiance and I, when our son is just fighting a nap, won't go down, he's just absolutely all over the place. We call it the wiggles because he's just all over the place. That was the wiggles for the BRB Cup Series field through turn 1. That was the wiggles.
Do you then turn on the wiggles for him to watch? I know that was more our time than it is this generation.
No, he's a Bluey guy.
Ah. Well, Andrew, full course caution on lap 1. Looks like these drivers are going to get a chance to save a little fuel under the caution, but if I'm not mistaken, they were going to be able to make both stage 1 and stage 2 on 1 tank of gas. As in, pit at the end of the stage, take some gas, pit at the end of the stage, take some gas.
Yeah, they should be able to, and you see all the new fast laps coming in as we roll around under caution.
Look at those fast laps.
They should be all good to go for stages 1 and 2 on 1 tank. No green flag stops expected. But much like we saw on Sunday night with the Icon Cup Series at Watkins Glen, it should be a 1-stop stage number 3. Now, there's a few different ways you can play things. And one of the strategies we saw on Sunday that I think we might see again this evening is to pit at the end, towards the end of stage number 2, under green, and stay out at the stage and get that track position to start off stage number 3. I think that's going to be one of the winning strategies potentially that is, well, maybe not winning strategies, but one of these strategies that is used here this evening. These drivers all have a strategy cooked up, I'm sure. That or they're working on one in the kitchen right now. But we're going to see, I think, a wide variety of different strategy moves as we even see a few cars in the pit lane back there. Evan Patinko, one of them. William Maddox, another. And Dakota Bly, a third car in the pit lane that time around. Brendan Maddox was also in the pit lane that time around with Dustin Stallings and Sean Lester. Of course, these drivers do have fast repairs in the series, so maybe some fast repairs being taken down there. It looks like everybody's opting, though, for now, to roll with whatever damage repairs they could have made.
Looking at Sean, it looks like he was able to take that fast repair on that car, just maybe, as he's back rolling with a clean race car. And I have been informed by race control. So we are currently 1 to green, but you see the field currently still single file. The drivers have determined, or at least race control has determined, that their choose will be in NASCAR turn 3 at the white line, which used to be dubbed the overtime line. So you see the white line right there where the NASCAR Cup Series banner is, and this is where these drivers are going to be choosing. A lot of drivers opting to go to the right-hand side. They got to hustle on around, Andrew, because the pace car is about to make that hard left turn onto the pit lane, and these drivers are getting ready to turn back loose.
We're going to turn things back over once again to Mason Houseman and Jared Hughes, the front row. Third place, Isaiah Sutherland. Fourth, Adam Buzzio. Let's see what they can do this time around. Very low and slow into the front stretch chicane. Then there's the restart zone, and we are green once again at Charlotte. Oh, Johnny Wood Jr., Andrew Tenold. 2 cars around, they make some contact, and they'll continue on into turn number 3 in the Hammerhead. Everybody else gets on through.
Big turn of events. I was about to say, we got through that corner finally.
Oh, Jason Bottoms off the racetrack.
That car is through the grass. He's going to rejoin off the paint. Still riding the rumble strips as these drivers roll through the center section onto NASCAR 1 and 2. And a big spread amongst the top 5. Mason Houseman's jumping out.
And down the backstretch into the bus stop chicane for the first time as a full field. And whoa, Dustin Stallings with a move there on Jamie Plord. Stallings looking to go on through. Won't make the pass just yet. One car slow, Zachary King. And there's the pass made for Dustin Stallings.
Big heads-up move there by Stallings to be able to get around as everyone works through. We make our first green flag lap as Houseman leads the way. Hughes and Sutherland have followed close in tail as Houseman goes quickest. And the closest car to the top 3, which is Buzzio, he's still about 2.3 seconds back from Sutherland. As now we have a fight for second place. Sutherland looking to the inside, trying to take that position away. Hughes is going to hang on, but they are bumper to bumper going into the redneck roller coaster. Wide move by Sutherland. He's going to poke to the left-hand side, get squeezed onto the paint. Oh, you got to make sure you make that clear. Road racing rules are different from oval racing.
So an attempt there from Sutherland, it went the wrong way, and he's going to fall back now of that 98 car. Now has to try to use the draft through the oval corners and the backstretch down to the backstretch chicane. You see some other cars rounding the corner. Problems for Evan Patinko around out of turn number 8. It looks like he might have taken Zachary King and Andrew Tenold with him.
That he did. Patinko, I don't know what happened. I was flipping through the cameras to see all of these great angles here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and I saw Patinko going around.
We'll get a look back at it here with car 81.
Zachary King swinging wide right there. Patinko makes a clean pass on that 51 car. Tenold and Wood behind, and there's Patinko, just loses it, slides through the corner. King goes right, Tenold goes right. They just make heavy contact with each other.
Yeah, they really hit that wall hard, and then a couple of drivers nearly got into the 81 after the fact, but watch the 51 here. He's really going to hit the wall hard, trying to miss that, and then Tenold just locks up into him, drills him in the door.
Yeah, I think Andrew was just trying to figure out where he might be able to go there. And he had one car to his right-hand side and a car to his left-hand side. There wasn't much place to go. Johnny Wood Jr. with the heads-up driving to cross over all 3 of those drivers and take the positions away. But that's got to be bad luck for Andrew Tenold. Thank God he's probably thinking to himself, there's a stage caution coming up as he slides up the hill through the redneck roller coaster, holds on to it. But I'm sure he is praying for that caution to come out here within the next 7-8 laps.
Bit of a battle on the racetrack, one of the closest ones here. Johnny Wood Jr., William Maddox, as they run through the bus stop chicane and back up onto the oval. Maddox going to go high, and Johnny Wood Jr. will stay low. So that'll be a pass made for Johnny Wood, and he's going to move up into the 12th position. He was a whole lot higher than that at the start of the race, though, so he's going to really need to put some work in. Started this race 4th, gets in the wall there hard out of turn number 17.
William Maddox goes right back to the inside, but he's going to play nice, let Johnny Wood Jr. keep that spot. He let him go through Speedway 3 and 4. I think he knows Johnny Wood Jr. is a big contender in the chase right now, our points leader coming into this race. But Mason Houseman is making work of all of these drivers. He is 1.5 seconds in front of Jared Hughes. As we look on board with Richard Wolsifer, he's trying to catch Carl Pooler for the 5th spot. Only about 0.4 of a second back, closing in ever so slightly as they come onto the banking. This is what I talked about in qualifying, Andrew. A lot of these drivers like to swing wide and come down to the white line to carry some momentum. As we go into the backstretch chicane, Pooler misses the apex on entry. That allows Wolsifer to close up really quickly.
And we're coming up quickly on halfway through stage number 1. So laps clicking off in a hurry. That caution really wore these laps away pretty quickly as well. Wolsifer right on the back end of Pooler through turn 1, pulls up and goes nowhere just yet. These are teammates.
You think they're going to play nice with each other, Andrew, or do you think since they're both in the chase, they're going to go for all the points they can get?
I would definitely think they're going to play nice. These two drivers reach a part of the BRB Hauler podcast on Thursdays. And this past week, they talked about how they had that team implosion over at Limitless Esports and how ashamed they were, I'll be honest, ashamed as a team that they had that moment between Houseman, Pooler, and Wolsifer. All 3 drivers involved in a crash on the backstretch at Las Vegas, no caution for them. None of them liked it. None of them were happy about it. So they're going to play nice for sure as Pooler's going to move over and give the lane here to Wolsifer down to the bus stop. There you go. That's playing nice.
That is a team working like a well-oiled machine. I think Pooler knows that Wolsifer's a little bit faster right now. And, you know, that's also learning off of each other, because if you see a car who is your teammate that's a little faster, it doesn't hurt to try and follow them, even in the early stages of the race, so that way you can have a good standpoint to go off of going forward in the race. As we look on board here with Steven Borbel, he is right behind the 2 of them, sitting in the 7th spot. You see him hitting that apex quite nicely there, going into turn 1 and through turn 2 into the hammerhead corner. Oh, big lunge right there on the 71 of Carl Pooler. He's going to play nice though, Andrew. I think that's the name of the game right now, play nice. I think they all realized after what happened on lap 1 that it's probably a good idea to just take things easy right now for stage 1.
Riding on board with Steven Borbel, just continuing to follow that 71 car. You see why it's called the Redneck Roller Coaster there from 5, 6, and 7. Oh, that was close to that turn 8 wall.
I don't know about you, but I just had a moment right there.
I thought he was hitting it.
So did I. That's really, really close. I can't wait to go back through and take some photos of these great drivers and see how close he got to that wall. Ooh, he gets really close. Oh, Carl Pooler very sideways coming out of the chicane. And that was one heck of a moment for the 71. Good thing he caught it. Very heads-up driving by the 71, but that's going to allow Borbel and Maddox to slide on through into the 6th and 7th spots. Everyone should be getting some stage points here, but at the same time, I wouldn't want to be giving up any spots as we take a look now. The battle for 3rd, Adam Buzzio and Isaiah Sutherland. Sutherland has really dropped off here, Andrew. He was up running with Houseman and Hughes, and now he's almost 5 seconds behind Houseman.
Yeah, problems here for the 24 car, although he is still running 3rd place, so really, is it that big of a problem? I don't know. But he has backed up here to the 5 car of Buzzio. As we always say though, Zach, catching and passing are 2 very different things, so I think he's resting for now. I don't think he's too worried right now about that 5 car, at least not yet. When they start making contact, maybe that's when he'll get worried, but for the time being, I think he's okay.
If you remember, Andrew, I said it, what was it, a couple of nights ago during the Icon Cup Series broadcast, that catching and passing on road courses, so difficult. Passing someone, if you stay fighting for too long, you're just going to give up so much time. And we saw it Sunday night in the Icon Cup Series. We saw when guys got side by side They lost 2, 3, even 4 seconds at some point, and it got so difficult for these drivers to be able to get that track position and that time back. You know, on an oval, losing a couple of tenths is one thing. On a road course, losing a few tenths can really make a huge difference. And we've also been informed by Race Control that AMR is awaiting the 51 in the pits. I'm not sure what happened to Zachary King, but I think they're making a little joke that Zachary King is off the racetrack. He is 1 lap down and currently in the free pass position.
Ooh, contact there from Sutherland to the outside wall. That crunched up the entire right side of that car, Zach. He got it pretty good. That is a concrete wall there. There's no safer barrier there at turn number 8. So you've got to be careful not to hit it too hard. That could also knock out the toe. These drivers are actually approaching Zachary King, who is still on the racetrack. I think that message was sent, by the way, right after the incident with Tenold in turn 8. A couple of battles around the racetrack. This is Buzzio on Sutherland. We also got Borbell on Wolsifer for the 5th and 6th spots. We'll stay here.
Sutherland missed the corner.
Yeah, we'll stay here with these two as they pass Zach King. We also have Dustin Stallings working on Carl Pooler. That's for 8th spot. And then deep in the field, Sean Lester, Jason Bottoms. In fact, there goes Sean Lester off the racetrack. Bottoms goes by. Tenold as well. So that's that spot getting sorted as Buzzio has fallen off by over a second behind the 24 car now.
I think trying to get by the lap cars and all the checkups caused a lot of that fall off right there, as we now ride on board with Dustin Stallings, who's caught in 71 of Carl Pooler, who's probably kicking himself right now because he was up there, he was in the top 5, he was doing really good, and now he is all the way down in the 8th position after letting his teammate go and having a moment in the backstretch chicane. Stallings with a good run, just gets so close to that wall right there. And he gets a big, big run on exit there on Carl Pooler, who is going to try and run his line. Stallings gets to the bottom a lot quicker. That's going to allow the closing rate to be that much more in his favor as they hit the backstretch chicane. All the way down through the gears, down to 2nd. Hits that apex nicely. This is such a fun angle to watch, Andrew. To see how these guys roll, and not even to mention the graphics we have that you have done an absolutely outstanding job on, to see how these guys are rolling through their gears right now.
Staying on board here with Dustin Stallings into the front stretch chicane, and this will wrap up lap 12 for these drivers. Adam Buzzio starting to close back in. Whoa, 1 car around, it's Borbell, the 2.
Big
Spins
moment
around at turn number 2. And that took Brendan Maddox along with him. Brendan falls down now to the 6th position. I think Brendan might have actually gained a spot, but he's now getting held up behind the 51 of Zachary King. Finally gets by that 51 car. Carl Pooler's here. We've suddenly got a string of cars. Maddox, Pooler, Stallings, Johnny Wood Jr., and Stephen Borbell all in a line working around the redneck roller coaster.
Not sure what happened there to the 2 car. Lots of cars under a blanket now. Maddox, Pooler, Stallings, Johnny Wood Jr. is now back up into the mix after getting involved with that restart incident with Andrew Tenold. Side by side now going into the braking zone. Looks like Stallings is going to have the advantage into the braking zone. Johnny Wood Jr. falls in line. So much going on throughout the field right now with these drivers. I think they're finally starting to realize the tire fall off that tends to happen on road courses, and it's so much more apparent at a track like the Charlotte Roval.
Oh, so Zachary King had a problem, and then Stephen Borbell came on in and had an issue, so that holds everybody up just a little bit. We'll get one more look at it.
So much heads-up driving from these guys, so they did not get too much contact with each other. You see Borbell, he's coming down in the chicane all the way up in front. Zachary King, he's the next car. You see the smoke popping out, and he slides into the corner, hits the wall. Borbell comes in, sees the 51, but he popped the curb. I think this would snap the car loose. He locked it down beautifully. Maddox comes in. Very heads-up driving by that 8 car to not run into anybody. What a great job by Brendan Maddox.
Up front, it's been all Mason Houseman for the race lead. And in fact, this time around, he'll take the white flag in stage 1. There'll be 1 lap to go in this opening stage at the Charlotte Motor Speedway Roval. And here we go, officially 1 lap to go. He's got a 2-second lead over Jared Hughes, who was just behind. He's really not far back at all, Zach. Considering we're at the Roval, 2 seconds is not a huge gap right now. And if Hughes is able to stay there throughout the night, he's going to keep that 78 car honest to where he's got to make no mistake. That 78 car has got to stay perfect if he wants to stay ahead of Jared Hughes.
That he does. Jared Hughes has been clicking off some good laps. Last time by, Mason Houseman turned a 1 minute 21:31. That, Andrew, is faster than almost all the times that we saw in practice. There were a lot of great times, a couple of 120s, but at the same time, Jared Hughes turned a 121.6. There is not a lot of difference between these two drivers in terms of their lap times. So that means there's a lot of capability for Hughes, if he starts clicking off some better laps, to close in a lot. And we're seeing just over a second in terms of fall off, as Mason Houseman has caught Sean Lester to put him a lap down, but I don't think he's going to be too worried about Sean Lester at the moment. And that's going to allow Dakota Blythe to get that free pass as we come back around. Houseman rolls through Speedway turn 4 into the front stretch chicane. See Sean Lester right there. He's going to make it across the line, not have to worry. And Mason Houseman is going to win stage 1 with Jared Hughes right behind. There is the stage caution.
Everybody else holds steady in their positions. Borbell worked back up to 8th spot over Johnny Wood Jr. and Dustin Stallings. And that will freeze the field. So Houseman with the stage win in car 78. He'll take himself 10 points. And that, of course, is going to help him in the chase.
Especially since championship points leader Johnny Wood Jr., yeah, he's going to end that stage in 9th. That is 2 points to 10. That's an 8-point difference. So mark it down in your not your calendars, in your calculators. Mason Houseman now with a, 10 to 2, 8-point difference. That's a 5-point advantage in the point standings now.
Him following some lap traffic, Andrew Tenold and Sean Lester there.
A little fun right there. It looks like they're telling Mason Houseman to slow down. Wait for the pace car. Let the lap cars get away and get back to the field. And now you see Houseman back in the pace up, dragging his feet, as some race controls like to refer to it. They should be able to come back around here across the start-finish line and collect the pace car, which is currently waiting for them right in the pit lane. Pace car pulling out now to pick the leader up.
There's the iRacing.com safety car. We'll pick up the field, Mason Houseman and all. Oh, we can take a look back at the point standings, Zach. I do want to mention, though, first that no weird strategies were played there in Stage 1. Everybody just ran the stage and is now getting collected here at the stage caution. So nobody really thinking outside the box with this one. But Stallings and Johnny Wood Jr. both kind of falling flat in the stage points. Borbell with them. Adam Buzzio picks up a bunch, so he should surpass those drivers, Dustin Stallings and Stephen Borbell anyway. Richard Wolsifer gets a few, so he'll catch up a little bit. Carl Pooler gets a couple. Evan Patinko, no stage points. Jared Hughes gets a bunch, so he should pass Patinko and Pooler. And Brendan Maddox gets some, but it's kind of like adding a few grains of sand in a deep hole. And he's got a long ways to go if he wants to win this championship.
He does. And not a lot of races left to get it done. Points are all the difference between these drivers and getting their championships. And Mason Houseman is definitely showing that he is here to play for this championship, making himself known, especially on this road course. He's got one heck of a car today. And
Mason Houseman told us at California that he wouldn't be able to make. Was it California? Was it somewhere else? I think it was California.
No, it was California. You're right.
That he wouldn't be able to make it. Yeah, that he wouldn't be able to make a couple of these races in the chase, and that he may lose the championship as a result. Well, we found out going into Las Vegas a week ago that these drivers will have to make 4 of the 5 chase races, no matter the point standing, in order to win this championship. So they only get 1 missed week, and will still be able to win. Let alone the fact that if Mason misses 2 races, I don't think he would win on points anyways. But until we know exactly what's going on there, we are going to treat it as if Houseman is going to make all of these races. So for right now, a split decision there. Hughes will stay out. Pooler stays out. Wolsifer stays out. Borbell stays out. Johnny Wood Jr. stays out. A handful of drivers staying out, I guess feeling like they saved enough fuel on the opening yellow and can save enough fuel now to go the distance for stage 2 as well and pick up some track position. I feel like these tires, though, Zach, will make a big difference and end up beating out all of those drivers who are staying out on the racetrack.
And you said there were no crazy strategies that these drivers were pulling.
Well, none until then. Even Buzzio stayed out.
Talk about your shakeup. You're going to have a lot of drivers on old tires and a bunch of drivers on new tires as Houseman leads them off. Sutherland comes out of the pit lane. There's Brendan Maddox. Camper, Patinko, Hughes, Jensen. We got a spinner on the pit lane, though. Look at that, Andrew. Who's that coming out of the pit lane right now? That's William Maddox.
Want to give a big nod to all of our partners with the series, of course. The Buttkicker is the namesake of the BRB Buttkicker Cup Series. Also a big nod to Ascendance Trucks, Idealese, and Sundance Pizza. Recently learned Sundance Pizza is based in Arizona. So, Zach, unfortunately, I don't think they'll be delivering here anytime soon.
Yeah, but they got the perfect place to make pizza. They could make pizza outside on the sidewalk with how hot it is over there.
I wonder if you could.
I want to now.
I don't know that it would work. I think you need a pizza oven with the heat all around in order to crisp up the top and get the cheese all melty. But,
I don't know about that because we've seen, I don't know if you've seen the YouTube videos, but I have, of these guys going out in the middle of the summer day in Arizona when it gets up to 110 degrees and they just crack an egg on the sidewalk, pop it down, and that thing bakes, Andrew. I mean, it bakes, and it cooks pretty good.
I used to live that life. Oatman, Arizona is kind of where that was made famous. Literally, they fry eggs on the sidewalk, and that was just outside of town, outside of Bullhead City in Fort Mojave, Arizona, where I'm from. And the hottest I've ever seen and experienced was 126. 126 degrees. Just kind of a staggering number to think about when I'm just glad we're in the 70s right now in North Carolina. That's 50 degrees cooler than the hottest I've experienced in Arizona, and that's just the ambient temperature. That's let alone the fact that the sun is baking down on you. So Sundance Pizza, yeah, they're basically in a pizza oven out in Arizona.
That straight heat too? Don't you guys have humidity?
You know, there's small levels of humidity. We're talking in the single-digit % sometimes, maybe in the teens. There's a little bit. It doesn't really do a whole lot, but yeah, you'll still get a little bit of humidity. As the iRacing.com safety car lights have been extinguished, that means we're going back racing this next time by. We also want to give a big nod to our partners here at Pit Stop TV, Whiplash SimCams, ATVO, CC's Business, and Cody Williams Design, helping us look good going fast. Well, Zach, bit of a split strategy. The top 6 cars have stayed out. That's going to put Houseman back in 7th. with some work to do and a little bit less time to do it. We're going to restart here on lap 20. So that'll be 11 laps to go in stage number 2. A truncated stage, if you will.
See, though, I like the idea of the split strategy. You know, stay out. See if you can do something different. Find a way to make this race a little bit more beneficial for yourself. And hey, if you get a quick yellow, that's going to allow you to bunch it back up and maybe hold on to those positions that you potentially gained from staying out. But usually, from my experience, when I see drivers pulling a split strategy, usually pulling the split strategy offset to what the rest of the field is doing is more so for a short-term gain rather than a long-term investment. So you're going to have to draw the line whether or not that this is going to be the move you want to stick to, or if you might want to pit through the stage. And you know, we're actually hearing from race control that the fuel is going to be close for these guys, so they may try to push it through the stage, or they may end up pitting. Ooh, okay, no, I'm having a brain moment.
Well, that's what I was about to talk about. I was just about to mention it. If you stay out here and then pit in the middle of this stage, you can then stay out at the end of this stage and run into stage 3 a little bit, pit in stage 3 and run to the end. The problem there, Zach, is then these guys are forfeiting all of those stage points. So I do genuinely wonder what the option is going to be for these drivers, if they will decide to err on the side of stage points or err on the side of a potential race strategy. I don't know.
Well,
we'll find out.
The other thing is, too, is that you are pushing it just barely on 30 laps for a fuel run, so it's going to be close.
Let's see what these guys can do. Coming back to the restart zone. Stage 2 is underway out of the front stretch chicane. Jared Hughes gets down and away through turn 1, now turn 2. Look at that shot. Everybody coming right at the camera.
Everybody filing on through. We finally made it through the first couple of corners. Clean and green. Oh, a little bit of contact right there. Borbell and Pooler, they managed to get it all sorted out as Hausman is making his way forward. He's past Johnny Wood Jr. right now. Oh, look at Carl Pooler. He gets really wide going up the hill, and he's going to draw alongside of Borbell once again as Jared Hughes continues to lead the way. Mason Hausman tries to take a look on that 2 car as they all roll on speedway 1 and 2. Johnny Wood Jr. runs it high. Stallings looks like he was making a move back there as well. As we got a fight here, Buzzio and Wolsifer. They drew alongside each other for second. Gets it all sorted out. Wolsifer looking, he's not going to send it into the braking zone, but lots of lockups behind.
Mason Hausman, first car on tires, is sat back here in the 6th position now, right behind Carl Pooler, his teammate, and Stephen Borbell in the 2 car. Pooler pulls down in line and is going to hold that 78 car at bay as William Maddox is turned around out of the bus stop chicane. Problems there for car 33. A lot of damage to his machine. We will stay up and active at the front as Mason Hausman had a problem and falls back now to Brendan Maddox and the 24 of Isaiah Sutherland.
Must have had a moment, snap loose or something. Probably didn't help that car one bit as they get single file. Brendan Maddox falls in right behind Johnny Wood Jr. Sutherland steps out as he crosses the curbing. It looks like the split strategy is really paying dividends. Oh, no, Pooler's around.
Problems for Carl Pooler right at the top of the redneck roller coaster.
He pulls out of the way. Very good move by that 71 car to pull a heads-up move and get off the racetrack. You see the leaders passing by through Speedway Turn 2 in the back of your screen. Jared Hughes has stretched that lead out to a 1.3 second gap as he mounts that turtle curb. You know, Andrew, I've always found it funny that it seems to be a common running joke amongst the NASCAR road courses at the moment, at least for those that use those turtle curbs or those sausage curbs, as people like to refer to them as, or the fans love to dub them. it seems to be a bit of a running gag that some of the turtles are painted to look like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I've always thought that was a great joke. I think Charlotte Motor Speedway was the one that started it. I think Watkins Glen and Circuit of the Americas played into it as well.
Well, it wasn't the track that did it. It was Corey LaJoie.
Oh.
Corey LaJoie would go out there at night and paint the curb, and that's where it got all of its notoriety. As problems, Evan Patinko off the racetrack and potentially out of this race. We're going to look back at what just happened to car 81, but it seems like he is newly out of this race. At least for a little bit now. He's fallen a lap down. Oh dear. He's blown a motor. He has blown an engine. I think that's going to be an oil pan from the curbing. Well, we'll go back one more time. This is going to be a look at it. He and Jamie Plord are racing, and Patinko just made a mistake and overcorrected big time, and that engine expired on him very quickly. That is terminal engine damage for the 81 car as a result of that.
Hopefully he still has his fast fix available and he's able to get that car back on the racetrack.
Well, he has towed, and, well, he didn't tow. He brought it to the pit lane and then called it a day.
Unfortunate for Evan Patinko. Just a big snap right there.
Boom.
Oh. That impact didn't even look that heavy. So that is surprising.
Remember, though, that's all concrete wall. So that's a straight-up hit to concrete. There is no safer barrier there to soften the blow as Mason Houseman has run past the 2 car of Stephen Borbell and moved into the 4th position. So he's making his way downtown through this stage. I don't know. I think he can get up to Jared Hughes potentially. I don't know that he gets past Jared Hughes, but I think he can get a second. Brendan Maddox works on Dustin Stallings in the background as they work through the chicane. Castle.io is the presenting partner of today's race, and they adorn the side of the number 8. See Castle.io on the side, or Castle Smart Alarm on the hood of that number 8 Chevrolet Camaro. Glad to have them on board today. The Race for a Cure 125 brought to you by Castle Smart Alarm. And they've got a pretty solid representer, if you will, with Brendan Maddox running inside the top 10, having a strong day. Got some stage points, I believe they're in stage 1. Still has some work to do, though, as we are seeing a mix of strategy and mix of who's where on tires now, Zach. And the top 3 still are the top 3 that stayed out. Hughes, Buzzio, and Wolsifer. But then Mason Houseman sits 4th on tires. Stephen Borbell runs 5th on no tires. And Isaiah Sutherland runs 6th on tires.
I'm currently doing some math in my head about how this is all going to shake out. Because estimated with the fuel that they have in the car, if we want to think back to the Whiplash race details, it's going to be about 28 laps on average for these guys. But they can stretch it, is the thing. Because we've had about 2-3 cautions that would have set them up to save a little bit of fuel. So if they saved enough under those 2 cautions that we had, then they could potentially stretch this fuel to the end of stage 2, hit at the end of stage 2, and then make it the rest of the race.
What I love about the BRB Buttkicker Cup Series is these guys run practice races. These guys run practice races on Monday, they run practice races throughout the week to get ready for Tuesday. So they get a little dose of the strategy options that they can play, and they can learn very quickly if they do something wrong. So it's proper simulation. Not just in the fact that this is the iRacing.com simulator, but a proper simulation of race condition and what can happen in the race, as Mason Houseman is now taking over third spot from Richard Wolsifer. But a proper simulation of what they can expect during the race, and I love that. These guys are prepared when they show up on Tuesdays. They know what to expect. They know what's going to happen to a point. I very much like that, as we're getting an update from Evan Patinko that he unchecked his fast repair as he was pulling into the box, Zach, and would have had to wait there. I had a suspicion. I didn't want to say it in case it was wrong, but I had a suspicion, and sure enough, he unchecked his fast repair, so he would have had to wait there on the full time to fix that car, and instead decided to call it a day, and I can't blame him a whole lot. I'm always a big proponent of staying in the race as long as you can. When you're going to have to wait on a motor to be repaired, that's 30, 40 minutes. That's a long time.
I would not wait that either. I would cut my losses and call it a day. Most of the time, an expired motor usually means your race is done to begin with. So, you want to talk about real life, you want to talk about simulation, that's about as real as you can get.
On board of Mason Houseman as he chases down Adam Buzzio. Houseman very direct into the bus stop. Very aggressive on curbing. Was down under 2 seconds for a moment. Ends up losing a little bit of time on corner exit as these guys speed up. That's normal on these road courses, especially here at the Roval. When they get down into the slower bits, the corners, the time is going to come down a little bit, the time between drivers. And then when they speed up, go around the oval, it's going to lengthen back out. So it's hard to get an exact idea of just how far back Mason Houseman is, but it's somewhere around 2.1 seconds in closing.
Houseman's definitely got some speed right now with those fresh tires, but do you think he's going to have enough time to catch Jared Hughes to win the stage?
Like I said before, I think he can get to second. I don't think he gets to first. I think he can get past that 5 car, though. It's going to be close. That was 4 laps to go in the stage. It's going to be real close.
I'm trying to crunch a number on here and see how quick Mason Houseman would have to go to be able to catch that 98 car Jared Hughes. Last time by, his laps were pretty good, a 120.86, whereas Jared Hughes ran a 121.46. So that's about an 0.8 of a second difference right there. So that's almost a second per lap. Call it 1.6 seconds over 2 laps. That would be 2.4 over 3 laps. Yeah, you're right. It's going to be close, but he has to make quick work of Adam Buzzio.
That was 3 laps to go here in the stage. Wolsifer sits back now 3.94 seconds back of these drivers in the top 3, so Wolsifer has fallen quickly. Roval sits in 5th, Sutherland in 6th. He's on tires. Just not having a great day, it looks like. Just not able to get up here and challenge these guys right now. As Dakota Bly has been passed up by Jason Bottoms. These two battle down here. Dakota Bly had a clean car up until this stage. I'm not sure what's happened to the 58 car, but he had a clean car all through stage 1 and now has got a lot of damage.
And he does. Look at that left front. Tore up. So we look on board now. Roval taking a look on Wolsifer. Popping the curb through the chicane. Roval with a little wiggle. He's going to lose some ground on exit, and that's going to allow Wolsifer to drive away.
A little bit of smoke up ahead, but we're still watching these two battle. This is for 4th position and a valuable extra stage point for whoever wins the battle.
Stage point's always important here in the BRB Buttkicker Cup Series. I really do think that there is ample time for Hausman to catch Jared Hughes, because it looks like he's catching out of Buzzio right now as Roval has a moment, taps the grass a little bit, loses some time to Wolsifer. Really, Andrew, as the sun sets now, these drivers are going to be in a better position to have more grip on the racetrack, so these lap times might start getting faster. Buzzio goes to the high side, lets Hausman go on by, and that is now a 2-second gap that he has to Jared Hughes. As we come around for the next time by, or this time by, really, it'll be the white flag on the stage, and Hausman is destroying those curves. He gained 4/10 right there over the course of just that corner section alone. Be interesting to see how much he catches him here in the front stretch chicane. Oh, wow. Hausman's on attack mode right now. And Hughes misses the apex in the corner. Hausman straddles it as they roll into the hammerhead. Only separated by about 1.5 seconds. That gap is going to keep going down for Hausman. There's lap traffic up ahead, Andrew, but do you think it's going to be a factor?
I think Hughes still wins the stage, but it's going to be close, awfully close here. I just don't know that Hausman goes and throws a bumper or anything, gets too aggressive with the 98 car, given what's really at stake. I mean, it's 1 extra point. If you're going to go to that length to move somebody at this point in the chase for 1 extra point, I think that might be a little too aggressive. As Jared Hughes leads us down the backstretch and into the bus stop chicane. That's Dakota Bly there in the foreground. 98 just has one more chicane to go, and he'll have a stage win here in the BRB Buttkicker Cup Series at the Charlotte Roval. And I think he's going to do it. Into the front stretch chicane and out of turn 17 goes Jared Hughes for a stage win here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Hausman second. Buzzio third, Borbell, Sutherland your top 5, Johnny Wood Jr. 6th, Richard Wolsifer drops down to 7th spot, Dustin Stallings, Brendan Maddox, and Dakota Camper your top 10.
Talk about really cutting it close, Andrew, by about 0.3 of a second. That Mason Hausman missed out on winning the stage. One more lap, he might have had him. But Jared Hughes is going to add some points to his tally in his chase run for the championship. So it looks like staying out paid off for some stage points, Andrew, but now we've got the problem of pitting under this caution. It looks like everybody will be able to make it to the end on 1 tank of gas, so it looks like fuel strategy is going to be out the window for these guys. But now it comes down to tire management. Who can save tires the best over the course of a 30-lap run?
Well, let's bring in driver 98, fresh out of a stage win, and I'm sure thinking over some strategy options now. Jared Hughes, a stage win here after stage number 2. That's got to feel pretty good, but do you think you've got enough to hold off that 78 for the race win?
Man, he's pretty quick. I didn't think tires would make him that much faster. I never thought tires had a big effect on road courses. Man, he was coming with a full head of steam. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do here.
There are some options, but the big question we have is how solid do you feel about fuel going for the full 30-lap stint here, especially considering you're burning a lap here of stage 3. You're going to burn another one just getting to the pit lane. Is it enough to get you guys to the end without stopping?
Oh, yeah, I think we get about 29 laps out of fuel. Save a little bit on the caution laps will help a little bit here, so.
Well, the 98 car looks good today for sure. This is a whole bunch of points to add to your total. Not a great Las Vegas for you. Does this maybe put you back on the right track so long as this race result kind of mirrors your 2 stage results?
Man, I sure hope so. Last week was really, really rough. Getting killed there at the end of stage 1. And really happy with the way that race ended up, being able to recover from that.
Well, Jared, it's good to talk to you. 15 laps led. That's the full extent of stage number 2. Congratulations on the stage win, and hopefully we're talking to you at the end of this thing.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
It's Jared Hughes with the Stage 2 win. And Zach, since we missed Mason Hausman after Stage 1, we're going to dial him up now, and he's headed your way.
And he is. Mason Hausman was able to point himself in a good direction and win the first stage of the night. Just came up a few tenths short in Stage 2 there, but you really were able to show these guys that the new tires were the way to go. Do you think with the different strategies it's going to play dividends in this next stage, or do you think you still got the winning car underneath you?
And I don't know. Right now the tires are just super duper. It's kind of hard to understand right now because I don't know if I was catching up to Jared from pure speed or if I was catching up to Jared from new tires. So right now I'm kind of in a debate whether I should take tires or if I shouldn't.
Well, considering how fast you were, it seems like tires were absolutely the way to go, and I would personally consider taking tires under this caution. But however, it's your race to run, and it's your strategy to think about what you want to do with it. Do you think, even as this race goes on, regardless of how the strategy shakes up, do you think that regardless, it's still potentially your race to win?
Well, I would love to say it's mine, but the Roval is his own animal, so I could mess up no matter what. Jared could get a great start here. Jared could go into the pits and beat me out, and I know we got a bunch of guys back there that took my strategy, and they're probably going to go with the no tires strat because I'm taking tires now, and I know Carl is doing a different strat as well. So we'll see. Lap traffic and traffic are really hard to race around, but we'll see.
Well, pit stop's underway. We'll let you make sure you get to your box, but congratulations on the Stage 1 finish. And, well, we look forward to seeing if you can get to victory lane tonight.
Thank you, boys.
So that was Mason Hausman, Andrew, your Stage 1 winner. As these drivers make their way to pit lane, it really didn't occur to me that he was going on a no-tire strategy, and now he's taking tires. So this is setting up to be an interesting race then, because if he was on no tires and still catching them, then the
Sutherland down and away. Sorry to cut you off, Zach, but that is a big strategy move. Down and away with fuel only. He's going to move to the front of the line.
I didn't even see Sutherland get off the jack.
No tires.
Oh boy. No black flags throughout the field. I see Dustin Stallings.
And we missed one driver actually pitting, by the way, at the end of the stage. Carl Pooler. I guess he's banking on these guys not having enough, or maybe he's banking on saving enough fuel to go to the end. I'm not sure. He pitted early. With the fuel situation we have, I don't know that that's the greatest move. But he's going to give it a shot.
It's a move nonetheless, and I was flipping through the field to see if anybody had gotten any penalties off the pit lane, because apparently Hausman came over the radio and said that he spun the tires and he probably could have beat Jared Hughes off the pit lane. But it looks like Dustin Stallings has a pit for repair flag. I'm not sure what happened to the 00, but that car is torn up. You see the left side on your screen right now, but look at the right front, Andrew. Look at how tore up that car is.
The left side damage has been there. It's the right front damage that's a little bit concerning. And, oh, wow, he just missed it. Just missed the turn.
I was wondering. I saw him come off the pit lane. I figured he might still have a fast fix that he could use.
He does. He does have a fast repair left in the bank, but that is unfortunate.
Unexpected. Well, that's going to relegate him to the pit lane more than likely this time by. You see the impact one more time. Just unexpected, really, from Dustin Stallings. He's been having a relatively quiet day. You know, you started 6th and you were, as of right now, you're up to 8th, but now you're going to have to go down to the pit lane, take that fast repair more than likely, unless he's going to opt to stay out here, but I wouldn't expect it. There you see the 0 car heading to the safety of the pit lane here to get that car fixed. It always hits you when you least expect it, doesn't it?
Or in this case, you hit it.
Wow.
Well, I mean, he did. He hit the outside wall, unfortunately. Hit the tire pack there. on the
Yeah,
exit
but
of the
you
pit
don't
lane.
hit a man. You don't hit a man while he's down.
Uh-oh, missed the box.
And he misses the box. Oh, no.
Well, that car has been repaired, and he'll head back onto the racetrack, now in the 14th position, it looks like. There's Jason Bottoms, the next car behind him. iRacing.com safety car lights have been extinguished, Zach. Let's take a look at what's upcoming for us at Pit Stop TV. Next up, Thursday evening, September the 19th, it's the 1-8 Racing Media National Tour for the Sim Auto Racing Association. And we're headed to Martinsville, Zach, for the qualifying in heats portion of the Martinsville 300. It's going to be exciting for sure. RJ Williams coming on board to support that race. I'm excited for it. I'll be at the Real Martinsville 300 for late model stock cars at the Martinsville Speedway, of course. So to add this one to our schedule is going to be a lot of fun. Then Saturday, we're going racing for the North American Racing League, 6:30 a.m. Eastern, real early. They got an Ironman challenge this weekend, and then Sunday, it's the Bristol Motor Speedway for the Icon Cup Series. September 22nd, we're going racing, and it'll be a lot of fun. That's their latest installment in their version of fighting for a championship, the Icon Playoffs. It'll be race number 2 of round number 2. And boy, with a spoiler win at Watkins Glen this past Sunday, everything is opened up for these drivers at Bristol. You've got to tune in and see how it works out. Evan Patinka runs that series. It's going to be a lot of fun on Sunday.
That it is. The Icon Cup Series brewing to have one heck of a race for Bristol. There's a lot of drama going on. You saw it between Vincent Loria and Brian Smith. They got into some altercations on the racetrack that really hindered both their championships, but they should still be easy locks into the next round as we see these drivers choosing here in Speedway 3. A lot of drivers electing to go to the top. And the iRacing.com pace car has its lights extinguished, as it has been all so far this lap. Carl Pooler, Isaiah Sutherland, Jared Hughes, Mason Hausman, Adam Buzzio, and Richard Wolsifer. Your front 3 lanes, and well, Andrew, here we go one more time.
Back to the Geico restart zone to get this race underway. Potentially for the final time tonight, Carl Pooler, the race leader, then Sutherland, Hughes, and Hausman. Hughes with a mistake off the restart. He's going to fall straight to third. Buzzio looks to the inside of Wolsifer, and they get to the first couple of corners.
Oh,
a spinner. That was Jensen as his teammate goes for the race lead. Sutherland up here for the race lead on Carl Pooler.
Side by side through the hammerhead corners. Sutherland not able to take the race lead away. Now Hausman drawing alongside, going into the next set of corners. He's next to Sutherland. He is there. They are side by side, door to door, up the hill, into the bowl, as a lot of drivers like to refer to this section of the racetrack. But the Redneck Roller Coaster, as it's still a part of, still side by side, going on to Speedway 1 and 2. See Wolsifer taking a look to the inside there now. And Sutherland is not giving an inch to Hausman as they roll onto the backstretch. What are they going to do into the chicane?
See, Hughes is clear for 4th, and Sutherland powers back by Hausman. I think Hausman knows he can get Sutherland if he plays this patiently. I think certainly the 78 can get by the 24. He's been so good tonight. That's no insult to the 24, more so just a nod to how good the 78 car's been. Zachary King, problems in the back.
More problems going on for these drivers at the moment. Lots of changing going on throughout the racetrack, Andrew.
Lots of changing.
And
Problems.
for
Richard
Johnny Wood
Wolsifer. He's got a lot of damage on that 56 car. He falls back greatly and has still got problems. Hangs on to the race car here between Tenelman and Lester and falls down to the 12th position. He was battling for the top 5.
Johnny Wood Jr. got a piece of that as well. I'm not sure the damage extent on that car. He fell down quite a bit. But the race for the lead, Pooler, Sutherland, Hausman, all under a blanket as they roll through Speedway Turn 2. Sutherland with a run down the back straightaway. Looking to the inside. He's not going to get there.
He's in a limitless esports sandwich. Pooler out front. Houseman behind. And Sutherland is just trying to find somewhere to go. He might have an opportunity here into the chicane.
Still single file racing.
Oh,
Houseman.
Houseman.
Big moment. Side by side now for the lead.
He is human. He does make mistakes as Sutherland goes for the race lead.
And while we were watching the race for the lead, Andrew Tenold went around coming on to Speedway Turn 1. He collected Dakota Camper.
Staying up front with Sutherland, the race leader. Pooler second place. Houseman now third. Hughes fourth. Buzzio fifth. And he's got company. Steven Borbell is knocking on the door.
Borbell now coming into the mix. Borbell is absolutely having a pretty quiet day, honestly, Andrew. He's been relatively in the mix for the most part. He's been involved in his fair share of incidents on track. But he is still rolling ever so solid as Houseman makes a move. You see it out of the left side of your screen. He makes a move on Carl Pooler for that second spot, with Sutherland now a second and a half almost out in front of the 78 car, who has been oh so aggressive. We see William Maddox letting a few cars by. So Sutherland out in front, Houseman, Pooler, Hughes, Buzzio, Borbel, Maddox, Johnny Wood Jr., Richard Wolsifer, Jamie Plour. The top 10's been shaken up just a little bit from the start of this race. Johnny Wood Jr. has done a good job of getting some spots back after his... Oh, Sutherland! He's got a problem! He's off! He's spinning! He couldn't save the race car. He stopped at the top of the hill. He's coming back across.
As the race leader. We're going to look back at what happened to car 24. I think it was just a solo mistake. Watch this here. Yeah, just got behind in the, I don't even know. He just got crossed up.
I'm surprised that he didn't save the race car right there. Just completely went around on him. Riding on board with Sutherland right now as he goes down the backstretch. Well, relatively speaking, goes up the hill and it just snaps. Maybe he just carried too much speed going into the corner.
That's exactly it. Carried too much speed.
But right here, he's so slow rolling. I'm really surprised that he did not save the race car and at least keep it straight.
He's now got company from Richard Wolsifer. Meanwhile, Houseman now leads this race by 2 seconds over Carl Pooler, nearly 3. So Houseman's out to lunch at this point. Pooler second, then Hughes, Buzzio, and Borbell, your top 5.
So many headlines at this point throughout the field as we get into the waning stages of this race. Houseman clearing away by 3 seconds over Pooler. Hughes taking a look. He's going to stay single file as Buzzio closes up in the center portion of the chicane. We're starting to see a lot of mistakes throughout the field going forward now. We had the whole thing with Tenold and Camper and Jensen a little while back. I just saw Jensen have a problem in the front stretch chicane as well. So these drivers are starting to show their worst for wear as the race goes on. And it's the consistency that seems to matter right now, especially amongst these top drivers. Oh, I say that, and Pooler misses the chicane. That's going to allow Hughes to draw alongside momentarily, but they get back single file. And Jared Hughes is just going to be taking looks throughout these corners. Buzzio's just waiting for them to get side by side. He's going to say, well, you know what? Once Hughes takes a look and he gets up next to Carl Pooler, I'm going to just follow whoever's faster, take advantage, and at least pass one, maybe even both of those cars. I say that, and Hughes looks like he's finally going to try to take a look down there, side by side for the second spot. Jared Hughes now with the nose out in front. Carl Pooler's going to keep it all the way up against the wall. That's going to open the door for Buzzio, but it looks like Pooler gets to the bottom before Buzzio can slot in. So now they're back to single file racing. Hughes, the leader of that group once again. Pooler closes up, but better exit speed from that 98 is going to allow him to draw away, with Buzzio, Borbell, and Johnny Wood Jr. falling right behind him.
And a reminder, Carl Pooler is on that alternative strategy where he stayed out at the end of stage 2 because he pitted a little bit prior to the end of the stage.
5 seconds back from the race leader, and you're still going to have to make a pit stop. That's looking to be an interesting strat at this point. Well, strategies aplenty as we roll into 20 laps to go here on Pit Stop TV. As Carl Pooler locks up, going up the hill, slides a little. That's going to allow Buzzio to close back up. He's been very, very patient. He's been on the radio as well, telling Carl Pooler he's been very patient. And Borbell is going to take advantage as well, going on by with Adam Buzzio on Carl Pooler. Borbell had quite the run to close up to that 5 car, but he backed off going through Speedway 1 and 2. Johnny Wood Jr. came on through as well. So your top 5 shaking up as Carl Pooler loses 3 spots to 3 different cars. As we roll through the backstretch chicane into Speedway 3. This is really making worse for wear on Carl Pooler's strategy even more now. 8.2 seconds behind the race leader, and still has to make a pit stop to make it to the end of this race. Borbell misses the chicane right there, loses ground to Adam Buzzio. That's one thing we haven't really discussed too much, Andrew, is how these drivers have really been affected by their strategies. You know, we talked a little bit about how Carl Pooler is on that offset strategy compared to someone like Mason Hausman. But Hausman didn't take tires on the first stop, which I thought he did, and I rolled through until basically when we interviewed him thinking he had taken tires. So the raw pace out of that machine is amazing to see, but the fact that these guys are all being accustomed now to how their strategies are working and showing how it's affecting them is really starting to play into the fact of maybe that offset strategy was not the way to go.
I think Hausman did take tires because he said that he didn't know if catching Hughes was from the tires or from outright pace. I think he did, but it was definitely confusing the way he put it, and it sounded like he was considering whether or not to take tires for this stage, which is confusing. That's 30 laps that you'd have to do with no tires, just old tires that are 15 laps old already. That's 45 total laps in a set. I don't know about that, but it was definitely confusing the way he put it. Regardless, it's working out for him. What he lacks in, I guess, explaining his strategy, he's making up for on the racetrack as he comes up behind Andrew Tenold. Tenold now in the 45 has just gone one lap down.
There's a puff of smoke just up ahead. I believe that's Eric Jensen, who had a moment in the Hammerhead corners right before Andrew Tenold and Mason Hausman caught up to them. They're caught up to him. So looks like another car getting ready to go one lap down here as we continue to roll through the rest of the field. On board now with Brendan Maddox, who's chasing Carl Pooler for that 6th spot on the racetrack. Carl Pooler now 9.6 seconds behind our leader, and this is going to turn into one heck of a slugfest for Carl Pooler to make his way back up into the top 10, considering he has a stop to make. We keep talking about it, we keep mentioning it as Carl Pooler misses the chicane majorly. Brendan Maddox is going to go on by, say thank you very much, and that is P6 for the driver of the number 8.
Will now chase down Johnny Wood Jr. some 2.5 seconds up the road.
Or like 3 at this point.
And Johnny Wood Jr. has been very quiet. I know you sung his praises earlier in the day. He's been very, very quiet. As one car gets held up here, that's Dakota Bly.
We talked about Johnny Wood Jr. having a quiet stage 1, being involved in a couple of incidents. He didn't maximize the stage points like he wanted to. Hausman has collected quite a few points on him. So Johnny Wood Jr. is going to need to step it up just a little bit today to hopefully not lose too many points. And he's got 2 cars that he can potentially pass right in front of him. He closes up big time on Stephen Borbell, who is being very patient with Adam Buzzio. The checkup right there is going to allow that 75 to draw up to that number 2 car. He's going to look to the top. He's got Andrew Tennell right in front of him. That's a bump draft through Speedway 1 and 2. Does he take a look into the chicane? I don't think so. So that is going to be a patient move out of that 75 car for Johnny Wood Jr. as they go on by Andrew Tennell, who's moved by Eric Jensen for the 16th position. The next car to go 1 lap down is going to be Sean Lester in that 31 car.
By the way, Zachary King seems to have called it today. He's 4, now 5 laps down in the pit lane. Eric Jensen also off the racetrack. Dakota Bly is 2 laps down but continuing on. Andrew Tennell has lost that lap and continues on in the race.
We say, I just brought it up just a second ago, Sean Lester is going to be the next car to go 1 lap down. I saw that he had some damage on the front end of that car. So that's why he's a little bit further down the running order than he is right now, but he will be the next car to go 1 lap down to the leaders. They're not too far away from him at the moment, as Johnny Wood Jr. taps the wall right there. He's lost a little bit of ground to Stephen Borbell. Those 3 have really spaced themselves out, as at least Brendan Maddox has not closed any further on that 75 car. So I think Johnny Wood Jr. is safe for the time being in terms of track position, but I wouldn't really want to draw any further away from those 2 cars that he's currently chasing.
On board of Johnny Wood Jr. chasing Stephen Borbell and Adam Buzzio.
Just how much Johnny Wood Jr. is wheeling that car right now to keep himself in position. Facing down Stephen Borbell. Up the hill they go. Surprising to see these guys running through 3rd gear. I guess with how high the RPMs are, it's understandable, but I figured there would be some 2nd gear showings through that center section, through the Redneck roller coaster, and now up into Speedway 1 and 2. We see Johnny Wood Jr. still trying to find a way to close up to that 2 car of Stephen Borbell. Meanwhile, Carl Pooler has still fallen even further back, keeping an eye on his offset strategy compared to the rest of the field. 14.6 seconds behind Mason Hausman, who is absolutely running away with this lead right now. 4.4 seconds to Jared Hughes. As we see 1 car taking it to security of the pit lane, that is Sean Lester with the front end damage on that car. Check back with him. Apparently he had hit the wall through the center section coming on a Speedway turn 1. So car's not hurting too bad at the moment, but he is taking it to the security of the pit lane as we still keep an eye from the tower, now looking through these lovely camera shots courtesy of Whiplash sim cams. Johnny Wood Jr. still chasing down Stephen Borbell for that 4th spot. As these drivers continue to roll through Lap 47 of 60. Just over 13 laps to go, 14 laps to go at the moment. And we see a little bit of a, that's an interesting move right there. I see Roval. He took the corner a little bit tighter. That's going to allow Johnny Wood Jr. to close up a little bit more and hopefully put himself in a position where he can try to take these spots away. I feel like Stephen Borbell is starting to finally feel the pressure of the attack from Johnny Wood Jr. as these three cars still spaced out pretty evenly right now. Closest battle on track at the moment as well between Johnny Wood Jr. and Stephen Borbell. As you see the rest of the cars rolling through. Love that section here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, how close these guys are together, going through 1 and 2 and then going back onto the speedway.
Oh, Sean Lester in the
Sean Lester
background.
going around.
Problems with the 31 car.
Loops
Problems
into the
aplenty. Looks like he took a fast repair lately and will spin,
Oh,
and there
going
goes
around
that
again.
fast repair.
Not too much damage on that car. Looks like he'll get it back rolling. You know, fun fact about Sean Lester. He's got a, I don't know if I've mentioned it before, he's got a Dale Earnhardt paint scheme, that Wrangler Jeans RCR paint scheme. Sean Lester works for RCR and ECR Motors and helps put those valve springs in those Chevy motors and keeps those cars rolling on the racetrack. So thankfully, he doesn't have to worry about a damage repair cost for that iRacing Chevy. As we roll back on board with Isaiah Sutherland after his moment from leading the race down into the 9th position. Now he's caught up to Richard Wolsifer for that 8th spot. Trying to see if he can get back some of those spots that he ended up losing after spinning at the top of the hill through the Redneck roller coaster. And he has been having quite a good race after that whole incident. It's been a little quieter as of such. But still trying to find a way to get by that 56 car of Richard Wolsifer. Lots of different lines going through this Hammerhead corner. The wider arc definitely helps closing back up to that 56 car as Richard Wolsifer gets a little loose crossing over the curbing. There's one thing these drivers really need to watch out for. Crossing over the paint like Isaiah Sutherland did right there and crossing over the curbing can really upset the balance of these race cars. Big run coming into Speedway 1 now. Isaiah Sutherland with a big run on Richard Wolsifer, trying to see if he can go for that spot. Wolsifer runs a bit of a higher line. Sutherland to the top to try and make a move. No blocking at the moment. Into the corner, Wolsifer hangs on to it. And Sutherland still left waiting, trying to see when he'll eventually be able to get that 8th spot. He knows he has the pace, he's just waiting for the right time to take it away. This race now getting very, very spread out. 11 laps to go, and we have some confirmation. Eric Jensen has taken that car out of the race behind the pit wall, and he will be done for the day. I believe Sean Lester also out of the race. He's been sitting in the pit lane. I think after that spin we saw, Andrew, he is absolutely done racing for the day. And then the only other driver with an incident at the moment on the racetrack would be the 45 of Andrew Tenold, who has a pit for repair flag. And he is not having a good time with that race car right now. Still 11 laps to go in this race. We look on board now. Johnny Wood Jr., Stephen Borbell, still fighting for that 4th position on the racetrack. Johnny Wood Jr. about as close as he's been all race for these two. Taking a look on the front straightaway. He's going to poke his nose going into the corner side by side now. Borbell lets him have it, tries to cross him over. That's going to be clean and clear for Johnny Wood Jr. now up to 4th as he chases down Adam Buzzio for the 3rd spot. trying to pull away now from that 2 car. Up the hill they go. Johnny Wood Jr. now drives further and further away from Stephen Borbell. I don't think Borbell is going to have anything for that 75 car. Pulling further away through Speedway 1 and 2. He's got almost a full second over the 2 car. Now he's got his sights set on Adam Buzzio in that 3rd spot. You see Borbell right back there trying to hang on to that race car and potentially get back up to the 75, but I don't think he's going to have anything for Johnny Wood Jr. See, rolling from the tower cam now into the front stretch chicane. Looking at the lap times thus far as we still ride with Johnny Wood Jr., he turned a 21.71 that time by, whereas Adam Buzzio turned a 21.56. So there is definitely some room to be improved there for Johnny Wood Jr. in terms of catching that 5 car. Buzzio still riding off his high from Chicagoland after getting that win to put himself in a spot to be able to keep his playoff berth, or his chase berth, alive. So we got 1 car off the pace. That's Jason Bottoms. He is off the racetrack, out of the way of these guys. He's gone a lap down now, still in the 14th position. Johnny Wood Jr. flies on by. Still trying to catch up to Adam Buzzio. As we roll back up, 8 laps to go. Mason Hausman now catching Dakota Camper to put him 1 lap down. Can't confirm Andrew Tenold is now out of this race. He had a moment going through the chicane, and, well, that just about ended his day for this race here at the Charlotte Roval, as Dakota Camper is going to let Mason Hausman go on by. And now, next car up the road, that's going to be William Maddox to go 1 lap down. William Maddox having also a quiet day. A lot of drivers having a bit of a quiet day. Zachary King up the racetrack to go 5 laps down. But Hausman,
that's the way you want the Roval to go, I feel like, is quiet.
No, I would think so, with how many drivers have had too many smash-em-ups. Johnny Wood Jr. once again still trying to catch Adam Buzzio. He's really closed that gap now. I'm not sure what happened over the course of the lap. Johnny Wood Jr. at 21.25, he's picked up that pace, whereas Adam Buzzio ran a 21.84. So there is still a lot of pace left in this 75 car. I think he's finally starting to turn the heat up, Andrew.
We'll see what Johnny Wood Jr. can do as laps wind down. I think the 75 could have a solid play here for 3rd spot, which is interesting. Well, we know he qualified 4th. He's just had a very off day until lately. Fell back early, of course. He had a couple of issues early in this race and has been recovering since then. But here he goes, pulling up on the 5 car of Adam Buzzio. I think this might catch Buzzio a little bit by surprise.
That it might. Buzzio, I think, was feeling like he had good pace to keep that car on track and moving forward. And now,
Buzzio just pulls over.
Yeah, he just let Johnny Wood Jr. go. So this is going to be a recovery points day for that 75 car.
So Buzzio down to 4th spot.
Contact.
Yeah, nearly got out there. Might have just kissed it. There is another battle happening deeper in the field, the 3 and 33. This is about the only other fight on the racetrack. William Maddox and Dakota Camper. They fight for 12th. And to be the first car 1 lap down, Camper should have a run here. And will go to the outside, and then the inside. It'll end up being right at the apex and makes the pass on William Maddox. That is good again for position number 12.
Dakota Camper making some spots up while he's still one lap down. But hey, if they're on the same lap as you and you can make those spots up, absolutely go for it. As I think a lot of drivers had this race written off a little bit. Not too many drivers are particularly fond of the road courses. I don't know about you, Andrew, but I love seeing these NASCAR stock cars on the road courses. We saw Carl Pooler back there in the camera shot as he is rolling through Speedway Turn 2. Now we look at Johnny Wood Jr. trying to hunt down Jared Hughes for that second spot. This 75 car has really come to life at the end of this race. And there's Jared Hughes in Speedway Turn 2, just about 8 to 9 tenths of a second in front of the 75 car. They'll roll back up to the start-finish line and make it 5, count them, 5 laps to go at the Charlotte Roval. And I do want to give another heads up to Carl Pooler, who has been on the offset strategy this whole time. He's in 11th, Andrew. He fell all the way to 11th. He's a minute and 6 seconds behind the leader. He's in jeopardy of going a lap down. I don't think he'll lose that lap. He's had really good pace all race, but the offset strategy call has definitely come back to bite him, and it's definitely hurting him, because this could have been a solid points day for that 71 car after starting 8th, and now he is sitting here in the 11th spot, 3 spots down from where he qualified, 4 laps led on the day too. You just got to think what could have been if he had maybe hit the strategy a little bit better today.
Well, he's probably been saving fuel this entire run, if I had to guess.
That is true. Big moment right there.
Yeah, that didn't help. That didn't help either. So he's struggling a little bit with the racetrack, but I think he's probably saving fuel to try and go the distance as we hit 5 laps to go, coming up on 4 laps to go. We'll see if it works out for him.
It's going to work out as much as it can at this point, because with how spread out the field is, you know, like we said earlier on, race control obviously gave us the situation of there wouldn't be any full course yellows unless the track is blocked. Well, we're quite spread out at the moment. I don't expect a full course yellow anytime soon in these last 4 laps. Mason Hausman still 8 seconds out in front. I will say, though, Andrew, Johnny Wood Jr. has really closed that gap to Jared Hughes. Now only about, I'll call it 6, 7 tenths of a second now. He's closed a few tenths over the course of the last couple of laps, so he might be able to catch that 98 for the second spot, but it's just going to allow Mason Hausman to continue putting on a show for these drivers, showing them just how good he is on these road courses, how good he's been all season long to put himself in position to gain as many points as he could. He came into this race 3 points down. He won stage 1, got himself a good amount of 10 points. He finished second in stage 2, got 9 points, so that's 19 points on the day. He was able to close up on his championship rival, Johnny Wood Jr., who is still running in the 3rd spot at the moment.
When we say he's been dominating the season, he's got 5 wins, yes, but it's been a while since he's been to victory lane. Let's take a look at the schedule and go over the races that have transpired since he's won last. I mean, to win 50% of races through the first 10 and then not win at all through Chicagoland, Bristol, California, and Las Vegas, that's a bit of a dry spell for this guy. I mean, I know that's kind of crazy, but when you're winning every other week, literally, to then go 4 races without winning is going to be a little bit of a dry spell respectively. Again, that still sounds crazy to me to say. I was trying to justify it in my head, but it just doesn't sound right. But you had Chicagoland with Adam Buzzio winning, Bristol with Isaiah Sutherland winning. California, we saw the 77 of Gavin Rogers win. And Las Vegas last week was the 0 of Dustin Stallings. So this would be the first trip back to victory lane for Mason Hausman since all the way back at Eldora, like you said, on August 13th. It's been over a month since he's won a race.
That it has, and with 3 laps to go, while you were talking about the schedule, Johnny Wood Jr. had a moment that cost him a lot of time. He's now a few seconds behind Jared Hughes,
Oh, here we go.
which has affected his race, but now we ride on board Isaiah Sutherland, who finally made it past Richard Wolsifer not too long ago. Now he's trying to fight Brendan Maddox, who throws it into that corner. That's going to allow Sutherland to have a big run. Maddox comes down the racetrack. Sutherland goes to the top. He's not going to have quite the run through the corner, but now coming off of the corner, he'll have that straightaway to close it.
Oh, contact, I think.
Squeezed into the wall.
Sutherland just can't get by the 8 car. Maddox won't let him go. Maddox, of course, is fighting for chase points. He needs all that he can get, especially with missing the beginning of Las Vegas last week and falling 20 laps down. So he needs everything he can possibly get. I can't blame him for putting up a strong fight here. William Maddox then pulls over. And we're going to have 2 laps to go for these 2 drivers.
Pulls down to the bottom, side by side. Sutherland to the outside. Well, road course, so driver's right, we'll call it. Can't fully get there. Maddox comes over to cover off, throws him into the corner now. Sutherland has been really good at taking a big arc through these next couple of corners. He's going to close. This is where he's been good just about all race. Now we go up the hill where Sutherland had his moment. He's trying everything he can, Andrew. Ooh, he's drawn alongside.
And remember, Isaiah Sutherland was leading this race when he spun. Now he's going to go by for 6th position. Oh, maybe not. I think there was some contact there. He gets brought back around to driver's right and gives up that 6th position right back to Brendan Maddox. Is going to have to do some big time work to get back up to the 8 car as we approach the white flag. There it is. The white flag is out, brought to you by Whiplash Simcams. 1 lap to go at the Charlotte Roval.
Mason Hausman pulling away. And let's keep this in mind. We actually just got told by race control that Mason Hausman, just this past Saturday, so this is going to be one heck of a way to start off his week. Just this past Saturday was sworn in as the United States Air Force Reserve. So not only is he going to be going fast in a race car tonight, he'll be going fast in a fighter jet should he be called up to duty. So what an absolute amazing honor for that 78 car to take on, to serve our country and make himself known in the United States Air Force. So congratulations to him. We can't wait to talk about it in the post-race interview because we will be talking to him, Andrew, as he rolls down the back straightaway into the chicane. He can just about lick the stamp, send it home, and tell his folks that he's coming home with a win tonight.
In the background, quickly, Isaiah Sutherland is right on the back end of the 8 car. Now on the right side of the 8 car, Brendan Maddox trying to get the spot away. It's not going to happen there through turn 8. Meanwhile, out of NASCAR turn number 4 and down to the bottom of that chicane. Checkered flag is out for car 78. Mason Hausman wins stage 1 and the race this evening at the Charlotte Roval. A big statement win for him to go back to victory lane over Jared Hughes and Johnny Wood Jr. 4th place, Adam Buzzio. 5th place, Stephen Borbell. 6th, Brendan Maddox for now, as Sutherland has fallen back by a second and change.
He's not going to be able to get there, Andrew, as we roll through the corners. Look at that big gap. I don't know where that went. Might have had a moment through the backstretch chicane, but that's going to allow Brendan Maddox to hang on, take a 6th place finish to help keep his chase dreams alive as Sutherland spins it across the line and ends his race in the 7th spot. I think he's happy to get this race over with. Richard Wolsifer brings it home 8th, Dustin Stallings in the 9th spot, Jamie Plourde for a top 10 finish, and Carl Pooler is going to be in the 11th spot. He does not go a lap down. He's going to be able to end up finishing his race. But Mason Hausman, win number 6. And this is really going to help his championship fight, as he potentially could have eNASCAR College Series commitments that could hinder his progress in the chase. So, to walk off with a win, I think that's a pretty good statement.
And he's going to gain a whole bunch of points doing it. Stage points, race points. Whole lot of points for the 78 car. I think he will easily go right back up to position number 1 in the chase standings after this race and going into Talladega in a week's time. And he's going to burn it down here on the front stretch at Charlotte Motor Speedway. A big smoky burnout for driver 78.
Mason Housman, your race winner, Andrew. He is definitely showing why he's a championship favorite. And I think he's got one heck of a team underneath him right now, those Limitless guys.
What a contrast from a week ago when they imploded. I mean, these three drivers in the very back end of the race at Las Vegas a week ago absolutely imploded on each other, had a big crash, the three of them, no caution came out, they all went to the back of the field. Now, you've got Mason Housman and Victory Lane reasserting themselves as one of the top teams here in the BRB Buttkicker Cup Series. Now, Wolsifer in 8th and Pooler in 11th, they had a couple of struggles, but still, solid results all around.
Very, very true. I think these guys really showed why they can still be competitive and why they are all, mostly all of them, I believe. Actually, no, I think all three of them are in the chase, if I'm not mistaken.
That they are.
Housman looks like he blew his motor.
We'll take a look at the unofficial race results after it's all said and done. Some 60 laps of racing here, and 39 of them had Cars 78 at point. Jared Hughes, second place. Johnny Wood Jr., third. Then Adam Buzzio, Stephen Borbell, and Brendan Maddox. Your top six, all chase drivers there in the top six positions. Seventh place, Isaiah Sutherland. Eighth, Richard Wolsifer. Ninth, Dustin Stallings. And 10th, Jamie Plord.
Then through the rest of the field, only 11 other cars made starts tonight. Carl Pooler, Dakota Camper, Jason Bottoms, and William Maddox. They all end up 11th through 14th, with Dakota Bly being 4 laps down there at the end. Zachary King managed to get that car back on the racetrack and pick up a few extra spots. Andrew Tenold ends his race early, 11 laps down. He ended up flying through the backstretch chicane and absolutely killing that race car. Unfortunately, that's what ended his day. Sean Lester, after taking a fast repair, spun. We saw that on screen. That ended his day in the 18th spot. Eric Jensen ended up taking his car behind the wall as well. And then Evan Patinko ends this race 40 laps down. And then the only car that did not start this race, he finished in the 21st position, was Gavin Rogers.
We'll go back and take a look and take a talk with our top three drivers. Mason Housman, of course, with the race win. We'll talk to him first. And he's already down in the waiting room, ready to talk to us after a solid day here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Mason Housman, a race winner, 39 laps led, a 6th win now for you on the season, Mason. How important was this race win as well, considering you may or may not be able to make all of the races to the end of the chase?
Well, I actually decided to race the end of this to the end of the season, every race.
Heck yeah!
I want to see if I can go for a championship.
Things you'll love to hear.
Yeah, this race was very good for my momentum. I was having really bad luck the last, 3 weeks, and I needed this win to get me back up there. I know next week's kind of a hard race to understand if I'm gonna win or if I'm gonna get wrecked out first lap. But this was a good race for me. Jared raced me clean all race. It was a good race for the entire league actually. We're expecting way less people to come and race with us tonight, but the Roval is its own animal, and let me finish first.
Well, this will certainly vault you back up to the top of the order in the chase standings. And going into a wild card like Talladega, after surviving a wild card like the Roval, that's got to feel pretty good, right? A bit of security maybe going into what could be at Talladega.
Well, every racer wants a little bit of security, especially going into a super speedway. But us Limitless guys, we love to touch each other's bumpers, so maybe they'll propel us to go faster on the super speedways.
There you go, race winner Mason Housman this evening. Congratulations, Mason. Good to talk to you when it's all said and done. Congrats, and hopefully we're talking to you next week at Talladega.
Yes, thank you, boys. And I wanna shout out Rev. Rev had a fun time at race control tonight. He had to throw manual cautions all night long. This race is for people who have had people that suffer from breast cancer or people who have suffered from breast cancer. We want to show our support. And I know I wasn't able to run pink tonight, but I want to show my support and say that we're all behind you, and we hope you for the best. And I want to thank Limitless. We had a good night tonight. All of us, even when we had our ups and downs, we were still there. And I want to thank you guys, because you guys were one of the best broadcast teams we've ever had, and you put out a great product. Oh, and I also want to thank Jared. He put on a heck of a race with me tonight.
There you go, Mason Houseman, when it's all said and done. A lot of people to thank when it's all over, and maybe we'll be talking to Mason Houseman in a week's time. Next up, though, Zach, second place, Jared Hughes in that 98 car. We spoke with him earlier. Going to speak with him again. I'm sure he's feeling pretty good after a second place finish.
I'm sure he is. Jared Hughes ends up second place on the night. Jared, you had an absolutely fantastic race. I know you finished a little further back than you might have wanted to, but do you think you could have had anything for that 78 car to potentially take this win away?
Oh man, at the end of that, I was dead tired. I just upgraded my wheel a few weeks ago from a Logitech wheel, so I was pretty wiped out at the end. I was more paying attention to Johnny catching me than trying to keep up with Mason. And
well, you were certainly able to continue to have a great season still moving forward. You finished second on the night. It's definitely going to help your chase hopes right now, especially with championship points leader coming into this race, Johnny Wood Jr. finishing behind you. Do you think you're going to have a good chance now going into Talladega next week?
Talladega's kind of a wild card, so I'm gonna keep my hopes up, and then Martinsville. I like Martinsville. I have a tendency to I try to keep my nose pretty clean at Martinsville and can work my way towards the front there, so we'll have to see how it goes.
Well, I think you're in a good spot for moving into next week at Talladega. Hopefully you don't have to worry about the big one going into that race, but you pulled one heck of a rabbit out of the hat to finish second tonight after starting second, so congratulations once again, and we look forward to seeing you next race at Talladega.
Thank you, guys.
That's Jared Hughes, your second place finisher, and probably someone we didn't expect to see in the third spot, Johnny Wood Jr. He had one heck of a race there at the end, Andrew. He started fourth and he fell way back after the wrecks, but I think after all said and done, I think third's a great result for him.
Third place is strong for Johnny Wood Jr., riding off of a wave of strength at Las Vegas as well, but you missed the stages. What happened there early to you, Johnny?
Yeah, I guess I just didn't quite figure it out there at the beginning. I thought I had some good speed in the practice race yesterday and practice earlier today, but I don't know. I think I was just too cautious, or trying to dial it back too much there at the beginning, because I just could not do restarts in that restart zone. I mean, I got one monitor, and it's just so tough to kind of squirrel through that little restart zone. So that screwed me up there at the beginning. Kind of put me behind the 8-ball, but good recovery.
Certainly a great recovery, I think, up to the third spot. You're talking to us at the end of the night, which is a good thing. Going into Talladega, though, anything can happen. Do you have a game plan?
Yeah, I'll probably find a team to stick with and see if they'll accept me as one of their members for a race. If not, then I might just wreck the field. No.
Well, hopefully we don't have anybody wrecking the field, but it certainly could happen. But Johnny, it's good to talk to you. I know a couple of strong weeks lately for you. Of course, you came into this race leading the chase standings. I think you'll be second or third after this is all said and done, probably second. But still, a solid chase for you so far. Best of luck at Talladega and beyond.
Yep, appreciate it.
That's Johnny Wood Jr. this evening from the third spot, and we were told, Zach, to go down and grab Adam Buzzio if we could as well. That's exactly what we'll do. That's the fourth place driver, Adam Buzzio, when it's all said and done. The ideal lease, Ford Mustang Dark Horse. And Adam, we hear maybe something is up.
Oh, nothing major league related, guys. I just wanted to take a second and say thank you to you guys for the broadcast. Congratulate Mason on a win tonight. Good win tonight. Him and Jared were both the class of the field all night. So I just wanted to take a second and give my mother-in-law, Jeanette Stone, a quick shout out. She's on the car tonight for breast cancer awareness. She's been fighting that for the better part of 2.5 years now, and just wanted to give her a quick shout out.
There you go, Adam Buzzio with a big shout out at the end of this one, and certainly a nod there. We appreciate your time, Adam. Congratulations, by the way. Fourth place has to feel pretty good after kind of an off week at Las Vegas a week ago.
Yeah, I did, man. I don't like this track at all, so goal was just to keep all four tires on the asphalt, and we did that tonight. So good stage points, good finish. Can't complain too much.
Adam Buzzio, 4th place. Congratulations, sir. Hopefully we're talking to you again, maybe after the wild card of Talladega in a week's time.
Fingers crossed, you guys. I hope so. I appreciate you.
That's the Idealese Ford Mustang Dark Horse and Adam Buzzio behind the wheel, Zach. And we've already gone over race results, but for him to come back and fire back with a solid result this evening, I think is going to say something. And if we take a look at the points as they were coming into this evening as well, you'll see what I mean. He kind of fell down the order to 5th place, 17 back. This should help bring him back ahead maybe of Stephen Borabel. Certainly, I would imagine ahead of Dustin Stallings after he kind of had a rough day today. I think it's going to be Johnny Wood Jr. Mason Houseman out ahead. Mason Houseman with the advantage. I just don't know about how many points it's going to be. Seems like Zach might have had to step away for a second, but regardless...
Technical difficulties. Made a whoopsie, but we're good. We're fine. Yeah, no, I think Mason Houseman is definitely going to be your points leader out of tonight, Andrew. I think there's going to be one heck of a shakeup, especially I think Dustin Stallings is going to fall back. I think Buzzio is going to hop up a little bit further. M. Patenko is going to do a little bit of dropping, probably in the running order, but Jared Hughes is going to make a big jump up into these points, I think so.
We'll have to wait and see exactly how things look going into Talladega in a week's time. We can take a look again at the series schedule. Talladega next up, 100 laps on September the 24th, a week from today. Going to be a long race for those guys at Talladega. That is a long one, 100 laps there. Usually those races are 94, so those extra 6 laps will be grueling, I'd say, for these drivers. And we do hope that that's one that goes kind of clean and green for sure, because otherwise that could turn into a long night for these guys. That could be one of the longer races this season. Who knows? The Martinsville for week 17 of the season, and then Charlotte. Solid 3 races coming up as we will circle back around to the Charlotte Motor Speedway for this series finale here in just a few weeks' time. But that will do it for us this evening from the Charlotte Motor Speedway Roval. Zach, any final thoughts before we leave?
Can't wait for him to be on the oval. I know you and I both have a soft spot for Charlotte Motor Speedway. There's a lot of great things that occur here. Coca-Cola 600, Bank of America Roval 400, the Summer Shootout Series that happens on the Charlotte Quarter Mile. There's a lot of great things that occur at this racetrack that make it so special. And not to mention, they're building a brand new road course facility onto this racetrack while also making updates to the Charlotte Roval. So absolutely love everything the Smith family does with this racetrack, and I can't wait to see these cars back on the oval, where I think the racing intensity is going to heat up when these guys come down to the race for the championship and make their stand on this stage. And well, Andrew, I can't wait for these guys to make it happen.
We'll take a look again at what's upcoming for us at Pit Stop TV. Next up, we are out to Martinsville Speedway with Hamilton. Let me get the full verbiage here one more time. It'll be... one moment. To find it again. It'll be the Taylor Hamilton Insurance Qualifying Night. There we go. Taylor Hamilton Insurance Qualifying Night on Thursday evening, September the 19th, with the 1-8 Racing Media National Tour for the Sim Auto Racing Association. Late model stock cars at Martinsville Speedway. Yes, it's that time of year. Make sure to tune in Thursday evening at 9 Eastern. Then Saturday, we head out to Suzuka, Road America, and Bathurst all in one. We'll talk more about that when we get there. Make sure to tune in. And Sunday, It'll be the Bristol Motor Speedway for the Icon Cup Series before we come back around in a week's time and go to Talladega on September 24th. And Zach, there's plenty of places to follow along with everything Pit Stop TV.
That there is. As always, pitstoptv.com, the best place to find all the information you need to sign your league up here at Pit Stop TV, to get your name out there on the great places that we broadcast here at Pit Stop TV. Facebook.com/Pit Stop TV, Instagram.com/Pit_Stop_TV, Twitch.tv/Pit_Stop_TV, and then YouTube.com/Pit Stop TV. One, the main place, the best place to watch Pit Stop TV, and X.com/Pit Stop TV_. Lots of great social medias, lots of great places to follow along here at Pit Stop TV. I know Andrew is always happy to see more and more people tune in to the great Pit Stop TV broadcast we had, and I know that he is fighting a bit of an illness right now, and he still trucked through this broadcast, and I gotta say, Andrew, kudos to you. Thank you for making these broadcasts always so great with your production, and hopefully you feel better soon.
Shucks. Well, we're doing all right, but that'll do it for us this evening. Zach, thanks for being here, and thanks everybody for their help with this BRB Buttkicker Cup Series. The Race for a Cure 125 presented by Castle Smart Alarm was a hit, with Mason Houseman going to victory lane. A big nod as well to the Buttkicker, to Ascendance Trucks, Ideal Lease, and Sundance Pizza, all allowing this league to be a thing. Making these broadcasts possible, making these races possible. Of course, Whiplash Simcam's a nod there as well, and a nod to ATVO, CC's Business, and Cody Williams Design as well. That'll do it for us this evening from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you all next time here at Pit Stop TV.